You think you know roses? Do you really? Let's talk about it today. So let's say you go to an awesome place like this and you start looking at all the different tags, and some of them say hybrid tea or floribunda or climbing roses or tree roses or miniature roses. What does that all mean? Well, let's start with hybrid tea roses because, well, we're right by them right now. So what does that mean? Is there one type of hybrid tea rose? No. Just in this room, there's more than 30 different types of hybrid tea rose. And there are lots of different colors of hybrid tea roses, but there's one thing that unites them all. And that is that they are long stemmed roses. Now that means that you're going to have a single long stem with a single flower on the top of it. Therefore, if you like making arrangements and you would like to have cut flowers of roses, hybrid tea roses would be a really good choice because of that long stem. You can make really nice arrangements with them. Look at this one. It's called Oklahoma. It's another hybrid tea. So next, let's talk about floribunda type roses, such as this ebb tide rose. Floribunda means an abundance of flowers. So you can see on this one stem, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 flowers, and sometimes you'll see upwards of 10 flowers on a stem. So these may not necessarily be good for cut flowers because where do you cut it? Do you cut it here? Because then you're going to end up with a really short stalk. Or do you cut the whole thing off and stick that in an arrangement? It's kind of hard to decide. But because of that abundance of flowers, roses that are floribundas tend to be really good landscape performers because they just get lots and lots of roses on them. Then we have grandiflora roses, which sometimes behave like hybrid tea and sometimes like floribunda because they're kind of in between. So sometimes they will have a long single stem, other times they'll have clusters of flowers, but they tend to have good sized flowers. Then we got climbing roses. So this one is blaze improved, but also things like Lady Banks or Peggy Martin roses are also climbing roses. And climbing roses typically start off looking like a normal rose, but eventually they're going to take off and make really long stems that can grow 20 feet long or longer. And if you want them to actually be on a trellis or something like that, you're going to have to tie them and give them some type of support structure, or else those long branches are just going to arch all the way down to the ground. Now, tree roses are pretty cool. So what they've done is they have actually grafted shrubby rose bushes onto a stem that is the rootstock. So it's going to make that plant be quite a lot taller and a different type of style in the landscape. They're great for large containers or just as a statement piece in the garden. And lastly, I'll talk about miniature roses, patio roses, and ground cover roses. These are going to be your more compact plants. The blooms are usually smaller and the plants themselves. Some of them only get a couple of feet tall, so they're better for smaller containers or borders in the landscape. But they can still put on quite a beautiful show wherever you plant them. Now, one last thing to remember is that a lot of these different types of roses have been crossbred from a bunch of other types because they've been doing this for hundreds of years. So you will sometimes see some of these categories that tend to act like other categories because of that crossbreeding. But I hope you can take this knowledge and go to your local garden center and find the perfect rose that's going to be for your needs in the landscape. Woohoo!